Devin's gonna say that and then go out price himself like he always does. Don't bring up Devin Haney. Devin Haney calls out everybody. Don't fight nobody.
But you lined up.
And on top of that, top from that, aside from that, I mean, I knock him out cold, he gonna sue me.
He can say what he want to say. The world knows that I'm Debo for a reason, because I'm the guy pulling up on everyone and wanting to make the biggest, best fights happen. So the duck talk is for somebody else, not for me.
Dev has been putting in work. 3-division world champion, undisputed, traveled over to freaking Australia. You know, not once but twice. Took short money too. For that.
Rolly Romero erupted after the fight with Devin Haney was reportedly signed, and he didn't hold back. Rolly is claiming Haney talks a lot, but says when they step in the ring, he'll knock him out, and even joked that Haney might try to sue afterward.
Makes sense for you.
The boxing world thought it was just another quiet day. A few rumors floating around, a couple training clips on Instagram. Maybe a fighter posting motivational quotes like he just discovered the meaning of life on a treadmill. But then, boom. 2 minutes ago, the internet practically exploded when Rolando "Rolly" Romero decided to light a verbal flamethrower and aim it directly at Devin Haney. And this wasn't the usual polite trash talk you hear at a press conference where everyone secretly knows they'll hug after the weigh-in. No, this was the kind of rant that makes promoters smile nervously. Fans grab popcorn and Twitter turn into a digital war zone. Because, according to Rolly, if this fight actually gets signed, Haney isn't stepping into a boxing ring. He's stepping into what Rolly called a highlight reel waiting to happen. Yeah, he really said that. Within minutes, clips started spreading everywhere. Boxing fans were arguing like it was the Super Bowl. Memes started flying faster than punches in a Mike Tyson highlight video. And suddenly, the question nobody expected today became the question everybody is asking. Did Rolly just sell the biggest fight drama of the year? Or did he poke the calmest, most technical champion in boxing at exactly the wrong time? Because if this contract is real, things just went from interesting to absolutely explosive. The moment whispers of a Devin Haney versus Rolando Rolly. Romero fight started floating around boxing circles. The sport instantly felt different. Suddenly, every podcast host, every Twitter boxing analyst, and every guy who once shadowboxed in his garage had something to say. It's because this isn't just another matchup on a crowded boxing calendar. This is the kind of clash where two completely different personalities collide, and when that happens, drama follows like paparazzi outside a celebrity restaurant. Devin Haney has spent years building a reputation as one of the most technically disciplined fighters in the sport. Smooth footwork, sharp defense, and the kind of patience that drives aggressive fighters absolutely insane. Some fans call it elite boxing IQ. Others call it boring. And Rolly Romero, well, he falls very loudly into that second category. Rolly has never been the quiet type. The man talks like he's permanently holding a megaphone, and subtlety has never been part of his vocabulary. When the rumors of a potential fight deal reached him, he didn't react like a cautious professional athlete waiting for confirmation. He reacted like someone who just found gasoline next to a campfire and thought, why not pour some wit? Within minutes, he was going off about Haney's style, his reputation, and even his fan base. Rolly claimed that watching Haney fight feels like watching someone try to win a chess match inside a boxing ring. According to him, fans don't buy pay-per-views to see defensive footwork and jabs. They buy fights to see chaos, knockouts, and moments that make people jump off their couches. The internet heard those comments and immediately did what the internet does best. It turned the situation into a digital circus. Boxing fans began replaying old clips of Haney fights, arguing over whether his style is genius or just safe. Meanwhile, Rolly supporters started acting like their guy had already signed the contract and won the fight in the same afternoon. What makes this even more interesting is how different these two fighters are in every possible way. Devin Haney moves like a chess grandmaster, calculating every step and controlling the pace of a fight with surgical precision. Romero fights like someone who walked into the wrong room, realized it was a boxing ring, and decided to start throwing punches anyway. That contrast is exactly why the rumor of this fight signing instantly grabbed attention. Technical brilliance versus chaotic aggression. Calm confidence versus loud unpredictability. It's the kind of matchup that promoters love because the storyline practically writes itself. But Rolly didn't stop with simple criticism. No, that would have been too normal. Instead, he doubled down with the kind of comments that make boxing fans spit out their drinks. At one point, he joked that Haney's fights should come with a warning label for viewers who struggle to stay awake. That line alone spread across social media like wildfire. Boxing fans began quoting it, mocking it, debating it, and turning it into memes faster than you could refresh your feed. Some people laughed. Others immediately jumped to Haney's defense, reminding everyone that technical skill wins championships. And that's when the tension really started building, because for years, Devin Haney has dealt with criticism about his style. Some fans admire his discipline and defensive mastery. Others complain that his fights lack the explosive drama they expect from elite boxing. It's been a debate that follows him everywhere, and Romero just kicked that argument into overdrive. Meanwhile, Haney himself stayed relatively calm, at least publicly. That's always been his brand. While other fighters scream into microphones and start internet feuds, Haney tends to keep things measured and controlled. But anyone who understands boxing knows something important. Quiet fighters can still be extremely dangerous when provoked. Behind the scenes, promoters and managers reportedly began noticing something interesting. The moment Rolly started talking, the potential fight suddenly became a much hotter topic. Discussions that might have stayed behind closed doors were now dominating headlines across boxing media and in the fight business. Attention equals money. Every insult, every viral clip, every angry debate on Twitter was essentially free promotion. Suddenly, fans who weren't even thinking about this matchup yesterday were asking questions. Could Rolly's wild power disrupt Haney's technical style? Could Haney's precision completely neutralize Rolly's chaos? The more people talked about it, the more intriguing the idea became. Some analysts pointed out that Romero has built his entire career on confidence that borders on outrageous. He talks like a man who believes every punch he throws could end the night instantly. Critics say that confidence sometimes turns into reckless mistakes inside the ring. On the other side, Haney has built a reputation on discipline and control. His strategy often revolves around minimizing risk and maximizing precision, a style that frustrates opponents who rely on wild exchanges and emotional momentum. So when Rolly started openly mocking that approach, many fans began wondering if he was actually playing mind games. Trash talk in boxing isn't always about ego. Sometimes it's about psychological pressure. If you can drag a calm fighter into emotional territory, you might change the rhythm of the fight before it even begins. And that possibility started, making the situation even more fascinating. Some observers believe Rolly is intentionally trying to provoke Haney into abandoning his disciplined strategy. Others think he's simply doing what he always does, speaking first, thinking later, and trusting his fists to back it up eventually. Either way, the reaction across the boxing world was immediate and intense. Podcasts started breaking down the matchup like it was already official. Fans began arguing over hypothetical outcomes as if the fight date had already been announced. And promoters quietly watched the numbers climb, knowing that every viral moment was adding fuel to the potential event. What began as a rumor suddenly felt like something much bigger. Because the truth is, boxing thrives on personality clashes. Skills matter, championships matter, records matter. But when two fighters genuinely irritate each other, the entire sport becomes more entertaining and judging by the way. Rolly Romero erupted the moment Devin Haney's name entered the conversation. This potential fight might already be personal, which means the drama is only getting started. The moment Rolly Romero's comments started spreading across the internet, the boxing community reacted the way it always does when chaos enters the chat. Analysts grabbed microphones, fans grabbed their phones, and suddenly everyone with Wi-Fi and an opinion became a full-time fight strategist. Within hours, clips of Rolly's rant were circulating everywhere. Not just boxing pages either. Sports channels, meme accounts. Even casual sports fans who normally couldn't name 3 active fighters were suddenly debating whether Romero had lost his mind or accidentally created the most entertaining storyline in boxing this year, because Rolly didn't just throw one insult and walk away. He kept going. At one point, he claimed that if the fight happens, Haney's famous defense won't matter, because, in Rolly's words, you can't run forever. When the ring got ropes. It was the kind of line that sounds ridiculous and threatening at the same time. Like something a movie villain would say right before the dramatic soundtrack kicks in. And of course, the internet loved it. Memes started appearing faster than punches in a lightweight combination. One viral graphic showed Haney playing chess while Rolly flipped the board and threw the pieces across the room. Another meme compared the fight to a calm yoga instructor suddenly being chased by a tornado. The creativity was impressive. The sarcasm was brutal. Meanwhile, boxing analysts began dissecting the matchup like it was a scientific experiment. Some argued that Romero's aggressive pressure could force Haney into uncomfortable exchanges. Others laughed at the idea, pointing out that Haney's footwork is so precise he could probably escape traffic during rush hour. The debate was loud, messy, and extremely entertaining. Then the celebrity reactions started rolling in. A few fighters chimed in online, some laughing at Rolly's confidence while others quietly hinted that Romero might be biting off more than he can chew. One retired champion joked that Rolly talks about fights the way action movie trailers talk about explosions, loud, dramatic, and slightly unbelievable. But even the critics admitted something important. Rolly knows how to sell a fight. Every comment he made pushed the conversation further. Every sarcastic jab at Haney's style added another layer of tension. It was like watching someone pour gasoline onto an already growing fire, and then pretending to be surprised when the flames got bigger. And somewhere in the middle of all this noise, Devin Haney's name kept trending. Fans started replaying highlights from both fighters. They compared speed, power, ring IQ, and durability. Some pointed out that Haney's calm precision could dismantle Romero's wild defense piece by piece. Others believed the exact opposite. They argued that Rolly's unpredictability is precisely what makes him dangerous. A technical fighter like Haney relies on reading patterns, controlling distance, and predicting movements. Rolly, on the other hand, sometimes fights like he skipped the instruction manual and decided to improvise. And that kind of unpredictability can be terrifying in a boxing. Ring.1 boxing commentator summed it up perfectly when he said Haney fights like a mathematician solving equations, while Rolly fights like someone who just discovered fireworks and wants to light them all at once. That description instantly went viral. But the real twist came when fans started noticing something strange about the way this whole drama unfolded. Every time Rolly spoke, the attention around the potential fight doubled. The clips gained more views. The debates became louder. It was like watching a promotional snowball rolling downhill, getting bigger and bigger every minute. Some fans began wondering if this was all part of the plan, because boxing history is filled with moments where outrageous trash talk turned ordinary matchups into massive events. The louder the insults, the bigger the headlines. And the bigger the headlines, the more people suddenly want to buy a pay-per-view. In other words, chaos equals cash and Rolly. Romero was delivering chaos like a man getting paid per insult. Meanwhile, Haney supporters fired back online, defending their fighter's accomplishments. They reminded everyone that technical mastery wins championships. Not wild predictions and viral sound bites. They also pointed out something that made the situation even more interesting. For all the noise Raleigh was making, Devin Haney hadn't responded with the same level of theatrics. No dramatic rant, no social media meltdown, just quiet, confidence. And that silence actually made the tension even stronger, because when one fighter is shouting from the rooftops and the other is calmly watching, fans start wondering what's really going through that quiet fighter's mind. Is he annoyed? Is he amused? Or is he simply waiting for the moment when talking stops and punching begins? The contrast between their personalities started becoming the main storyline. Rolly the loud storm, Haney the calm strategist, and the boxing world loves nothing more than a story where opposites collide. Even casual fans began saying the same thing. If this fight really happens, the build-up alone might be more entertaining than half the events we've seen this year. But beneath the memes and sarcastic jokes, a serious question kept popping up again and again. What happens when the talking ends? Because trash talk can sell a fight, but once the bell rings, reality shows up very quickly. Inside that ring, there are no tweets, no memes, and no dramatic interviews, just two fighters and a very unforgiving spotlight. And judging by the way Rolly Romero has been escalating the drama, that spotlight might soon be brighter than ever, which means the pressure is building. The expectations are rising, and if this fight contract truly gets finalized, the chaos we've already seen online might just be the warm-up act for something even bigger. The longer the noise around this potential fight kept growing, the more one uncomfortable reality started creeping into the conversation. Trash talk is fun. Memes are entertaining. Viral clips make promoters smile. But eventually, the circus lights shut off, and the fighters have to step into the ring where sarcasm and confidence don't block punches. And that's where things could get very interesting. Because if this fight really happens, the spotlight won't just be on Devin Haney and Rolando "Rolly" Romero. The spotlight will be on every word Rolly has already thrown into the atmosphere like confetti at a parade. Every bold claim, every sarcastic jab, every viral insult suddenly becomes part of the pressure. When you talk that loudly, people expect fireworks, and fans have long memories. Boxing history is full of fighters who built enormous hype through outrageous confidence. Sometimes that confidence turned out to be justified. Other times, it aged about as well as milk left outside in the summer sun. The difference between legend and meme can sometimes be one bad night in the ring. That's why the potential consequences of this fight feel so massive. For Devin Haney, the situation carries its own kind of pressure. Critics have been questioning his style for years, saying he wins fights with precision rather than spectacle. If he dominates Romero with calm control, supporters will say it proves once again that technical brilliance beats chaos. But if the fight turns messy, if Rolly lands something dramatic, suddenly those same critics will feel vindicated, because the boxing world loves nothing more than an upset story. For Romero, the stakes might be even higher. Talking big is part of his personality. But once a fight reaches this level of attention, every prediction becomes a promise. The louder the bragging, the bigger the expectation, and the internet is ruthless when expectations collapse. If Rolly somehow walks into the ring and actually backs up all this noise, he doesn't just win a fight. He becomes the guy who called his shot and delivered. That kind of moment can transform a fighter overnight from controversial personality into headline attraction. But if the opposite happens, if Haney calmly dismantles him with sharp jabs and defensive control, the memes that once celebrated Rolly's confidence could flip faster than a coin. Boxing fans are loyal, but they're also brutally honest. And then there's the bigger picture. Promoters, networks, and the entire boxing ecosystem are watching this drama unfold like investors staring at a stock market chart. Every viral moment, every heated debate, every trending hashtag tells them the same thing. People are paying attention. Attention is the currency of combat sports. It's what turns normal fight nights into massive events. And right now, the tension between Haney's quiet discipline and Romero's explosive personality is creating exactly the kind of storyline that keeps fans glued to their screens. Some insiders have even suggested that this rivalry might evolve into something bigger than one fight. If the build-up continues like this, if the insults keep escalating and the fan debates keep growing, the matchup could become one of those modern boxing feuds that refuses to stay quiet, the kind that sparks rematches, rival camps, and endless online arguments. But before any of that happens, reality still waits inside the ropes, because once the bell rings, all the noise disappears. The cameras zoom in. The arena gets quiet for a split second, and suddenly, the entire storyline comes down to footwork, timing, and who handles pressure better when the punches start flying. That's the moment when reputations either grow stronger or crack under the weight of expectations. For Devin Haney, a dominant performance could reinforce his reputation as one of the smartest technicians in the sport. It would silence critics who claim his style lacks excitement and remind everyone that championships are earned through discipline. For Rolly Romero, victory would rewrite the narrative completely. The loud talker becomes the fearless disruptor. The chaotic puncher becomes the man who proved the boxing world wrong. Either way, the aftermath would ripple through the sport, because fights like this rarely end quietly. If Haney wins convincingly, analysts will praise his composure and ring IQ, while critics quietly retreat from their earlier arguments. If Romero pulls off a shocking upset, entire lightweight conversation flips upside down overnight, and fans would immediately start asking the next dramatic question: what happens next? Rematch talk would explode instantly. Other fighters would jump into the conversation. Suddenly, the rivalry that started with one explosive rant could evolve into a full-blown saga that keeps boxing fans arguing for months. But that future is still unwritten. Right now, the story is still building. Rumors are swirling. The tension is rising. And somewhere between Rolly's loud predictions and Haney's calm silence sits a fight that could either confirm everything fans believe or completely flip the narrative, because boxing has a funny way of humbling. Predictions, the loudest voices, sometimes fall silent. The quiet fighters sometimes make the loudest statements, and when two completely different personalities finally collide under bright lights, the result is rarely boring. So whether this turns into a masterclass in technical boxing or a chaotic slugfest nobody saw coming, one thing is already certain: the drama between Rolly, Romero, and Devin Haney has already captured the boxing world's attention. And if the contract really gets finalized, the real fireworks haven't even started yet. And there you have it. One rumor, one explosive rant. And suddenly the boxing world feels like someone just shook the entire sport like a soda can before opening it. Rolly Romero is out here, talking like he already owns the highlight reel. Devin Haney is staying calm like a chess player waiting for the perfect move. And fans are sitting in the middle of the chaos like spectators at a fireworks show that might accidentally turn into a full-blown explosion. Because, let's be honest, if this fight actually happens, the buildup alone might be more entertaining than half the cards we've seen this year. Confidence versus composure. Chaos versus calculation. A loud storm crashing straight into a quiet strategist. And in boxing, that kind of clash rarely ends politely. Now here's the real question. Is Rolly Romero about to shock the world and turn all that trash talk into prophecy? Or is Devin Haney going to walk into that ring and turn the entire rant into a lesson in technical boxing? Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Team Haney or Team Raleigh? Who actually wins this fight? And don't just tap the like button. Smash it like it owes you money. Seriously, hit it like you're throwing a championship right hook. If you love boxing drama, wild fight stories, and the kind of scandals that make the internet lose its mind, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Because around here, the tea is always hot, and the punches are always flying. This is the channel where the biggest boxing chaos gets broken down, roasted, and exposed. More drama is always loading. And trust me, the next headline might be even crazier. Until the next knockout story. This is Punch Press.